What's going on, everyone? Thanks for coming to watch. So I've got an update for you guys on the tropics. So we have two tropical cyclones that are expected to become very, very strong hurricanes. We already do have Hurricane Franklin. Um, Hurricane Franklin previously formed a tropical depression, moved through the Dominican Republic and Haiti, bringing some very, very strong winds and some very, very bad and dangerous flooding to the area. So I haven't talked about the tropics in a very, very long time. A few systems did form while in that time frame. We did get Franklin, which we still have. Franklin is expected to become a category 3, maybe even category 4 major hurricane as it moves a little bit closer to Bermuda. We also did get Tropical Storm Harold that moved through southern Texas, bringing some flooding downpours to the area. But yeah, that's pretty much been it as for the most part. Then we do have just today we had newly formed Tropical Storm Idalia. Now, Tropical Storm Idalia is going to be a storm we're gonna have to watch as it could move through the Gulf of Mexico, which, by the way, the waters out there are just, they are sizzling hot. I mean, not literally, but they are very, very hot. 99 degrees uh, was recorded actually out in this area. And actually, it might not have been 90. I think it was around anywhere around 90, 95 degrees has been the recorded temperature out here along the southern Florida coastline. Somewhere in the Keys out there, there was sea surface temperature recorded in the 90s. So it is very, very hot, those temperatures out there, which hurricanes, and they just gulp all that up. And that's how they get stronger and stronger. So we're really gonna have to watch these impacts because the winds are uh, probably gonna be the main threat as we could see winds that could get over 130 miles an hour. So we will really have to pay close attention to this storm out here. Right now, we've got maximum sustained winds at 45 miles per hour. We got a minimum central pressure at around 995 millibars. So this is considered I would say, moderately strong tropical storm out here. And then Franklin is a 970 millibar category 1 or it might be category 2 hurricane right now with maximum sustained winds of 100 miles an hour. So we have a very, very strong storm. Both storms are moving very, very slowly. Look at this. Tropical Storm Idalia moving just northeast at 3 miles an hour, and Franklin moving northwestward at around 8 miles per hour. So we're going to be watching both systems very closely in today's update. We also do have behind it in this, behind these systems in our main development region, we have a disturbance out here. We have a 30% chance of development throughout the next 7 days, but there is some gradual development possible with the system, so we'll continue tracking that as well. So we're going to be moving on to the satellite loop for Hurricane Franklin. So this is Franklin right now. Franklin is looking pretty good. The convection has of Franklin has really slowed down a lot. Earlier actually last week we did see a lot of impressive convection just before this really got going, and even before this even impacted Dominican Republic, as this still was a developing tropical storm. We had a lot of serious convection out here, but it has slowed down. You can see, looks like the southern and the eastern eye wall, or not eye wall, but southern and eastern side of the storm is really going to be that strongest side. But you do have some leftover energy on the western side. But overall, this is looking like a pretty nasty storm right here. These are the Bahamas out here. So this storm is getting pretty close to the Bahamas. I don't expect any impact for you guys. Florida is just out here. Florida will not be harmed by Franklin. I just want you guys to be clear on that. And if it starts raining out here in the Bahamas and you think, oh no, the hurricane's coming, those are just some outer bands that have been attacked by wind shear that are detached from the storm. They're moving into your area. All that's going to bring is maybe just at the most some steady rainfall, maybe some relatively gusty winds. It's not going to be that bad, just a rainy day out there for the Bahamas. But this is the main area of Franklin, and we don't really see much wind shear out in this area, although there is some wind shear on the bottom of the storm, but overall Franklin looks healthy. So we're going to be looking at the cone for Franklin. This was just updated. It's looking like Franklin is just going to go out to sea. I don't think this is going to impact many areas, but I want you guys to notice Bermuda. You guys are right here, right next to the major hurricane symbol right here, 2 p.m. Wednesday. So, you definitely gotta watch out for some outer bands of Franklin if you're out here in Bermuda, but I think you could get even more than that with maybe at least tropical storm force wind gusts and sustained winds for sure. Maybe even hurricane force winds out there. But this is forecasted to really just get going as soon as tomorrow. You're getting into midday tomorrow. This is already a major hurricane, so the fact that we're jumping from a Category 1 to Category 3 hurricane in just, 12 hours is pretty ridiculous. So Franklin is just chugging out there in the Atlantic. Franklin is really going to take off here. It's still a major hurricane all the way up into midday Wednesday. We get to 2 p.m. Wednesday where it's finally in line with Bermuda. This is where we could have some serious impacts with Bermuda. Then it kind of gets a sense of where those cooler waters are, and it kind of just drifts out into the northern Atlantic. Weakens a little bit by 2 p.m. Thursday, 2 p.m. Friday. We have a just a regular hurricane out here, but I think that we are going to definitely get a pretty big storm out of this, and it's looking like we're not going to get anybody, and nobody's really going to get hit by this. But I think you are going to get some very, very large swells off the Carolina coastline. Ongoing large waves out here in the Georgia and Florida coastline. This could even bring some larger waves out into the Delmarva area and up into southern New Jersey. So definitely watch out for rip currents as we do also have another storm creeping up towards Florida. So I think if you're in Florida right now, just on the coast of Florida, I would not go to the beach until both storms are well out to sea out. Because I think that from now up until like Friday, I think you're gonna have very very big waves, like monster waves out here on both the eastern and western coastline of Florida. So really be aware of that if you're not only for the Florida coastline but just for the entire eastern coastline in general. There will be some big waves from today up into late week. But we will move on to our model intensity guidance just to look at how strong exactly the storm will get. I'm telling you, some of these members, I would say, this looks like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 of these members take this storm up to Category 4 status. Those are winds. Those are wind speeds up to 120 miles an hour. That is a very, very strong storm. But that would be even knots. So 120 miles an hour knots is like 130, 140 miles an hour. So I didn't even realize that this is in knots. So we are definitely going to get a very, very strong storm out of this. But you can see that the hike, it doesn't take very long. It's only going to take about 36 hours to get up to at least high-end Category 3 status. That's the definite. We're definitely going to see a Category 3 hurricane out of this, at least. But yeah, all of these members take it up to Category 3, at least. It goes down back to Category 2. Kind of sticks around here, gets a little bit. Some of these members take it at the end of its kind of lifespan out here. They bump it up a little bit, back up to Category 3 status. So we could see another re-strengthening of the storm as it moves into the North Atlantic. But then most of these members really just take this storm down back to the Category 1 status. Very few of them take it back to tropical storm status. So as far as 168 hours, we still might have an ongoing dangerous threat for areas of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, but the threat for landfall on those areas have decreased in a very, very big way in the past few days. So I think you guys out there have a little bit more air to breathe and room to breathe because the storm is probably just going to be strong enough to move out to sea and not impact anybody. So we're going to be looking at the newly formed Tropical Storm Idalia. So this is Idalia right now. Idalia formed very, very quickly. It didn't take long for Idalia to finally get a mark on the National Hurricane Center for Chance of Development. This is coming off the Yucatan, Mexico Peninsula out here. But we have some serious convection. You can see these dark purples, pinks. These are very, very moist, lower level conditions out here. But this was a very, very this so far has been a very, very short lived storm. It's quickly gathered strength, and it's now a moderately strong tropical storm. Earlier today, it was Tropical Depression 10, but here we go. We have Tropical Storm Idalia. So again, we have a lot of convection out pretty much for this entire area. And notice on the last frame of this time of this I guess this is a time lapse. You can see we do get an eye starting to build up here. So that when you see that eye starting to build up, that's when you know that a hurricane is on its way. But this is Cuba up here. Notice how Cuba is very, very close to the storm. Right now, the storm's looking like it's moving northeastward. So it is moving closer to Cuba. It'll probably move like this. It's going to move definitely. It's definitely going to move through the western part of Cuba, and then it will eventually move up into the Gulf and then closer to Florida. But for now, this is where it's located, and the eye is pretty much right. The eye is pretty much going to be right into here. So it is definitely moving northward. But even around it, these outer bands of Idalia, you still got a lot of moisture to deal with. You can see out here all the way down into uh, parts of Central America, we still do have a lot of moist air back down farther south. So we look at now the cone out here. So this is just going to show us how strong the storm is forecasted to get and where it's supposed to go. So you can see that we already do have tropical storm warnings out here for portions of western Cuba, portions of the extreme eastern areas of the Mexican Yucatan Peninsula out here. And this storm is quickly going. It's another one of those storms where it just quickly it gets going, and then it quickly gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So as it moves through Cuba, it will not lose any steam. As soon as the middle of the night Tuesday, we finally will see a Category 1 hurricane. We get to midday Tuesday. This is still still developing and strengthening into a stronger hurricane. We don't see any major hurricane symbols on this, which is good. But one problem is that we do look like we'll have a direct impact on the northern Florida Peninsula. That's definitely possible. But we already do have tropical storm watches out for this entire area, including Miami. I believe you guys are actually under that tropical storm, or excuse me, the hurricane watch. I think I said tropical storm watch, but we do have a hurricane watch out here. The tropical storm watch is in this yellow out here. These for areas farther south. But yeah, we already do have a state of emergency declared for the state of Florida. So the fact that the storm hasn't even passed through. I mean, the storm was still TD10 at when the governor of Florida declared the state of emergency. That tells you that everyone is really they're preparing for this. I would say after Ian, I think everyone out here in Florida is now completely ready for hurricanes now. I think they've all learned their lesson if they haven't already. I'm sure. I mean, I know you guys out in Florida are just you're hurricane experts because you guys get hit at least once a year. But yeah, the storm is expected to move through northern Florida, then impact parts of southern Georgia as a high-end tropical storm continuing through the Carolina coastline. I would say that if you're on the Carolina coastline, you're going to get some pretty large storm surge out here because you're going to get those tropical storm force winds along the coastline, bringing those waves up. And then you're obviously going to, you're going to have that flooding. So I really do think that those roads along the water line are definitely going to get they're definitely going to have a high chance of being flooded. But it's looking like the storm will move through the Carolinas around Thursday morning into midday Thursday, and then we get to midday Friday, and this begins to move out to sea, maybe getting a little bit closer to Bermuda. So we move on to our intensity guidance for Idalia. So you could see, I would say pretty much all of these members, a few of them actually don't take it at hurricane status, but definitely more than half these members take it up to category 1 strength. A few of them take it up to category 2. None of them so far have taken it up to category 3, okay? But it's looking like we're going to settle with it's good to settle with a category 1 hurricane for now. Okay, those are wind speeds, sustained winds of around 80 to 100 miles an hour. That's what we've got going on. If we get to category 2, which we have a signal for that, we could see wind gusts over. We could see sustained winds over 100 miles an hour. Wind gusts that could get even higher. Okay, that would be pretty bad. And I'm telling you guys, we do have a decent chance of seeing a storm that strong. But for now, it's looking like we will definitely get a hurricane out of this, and then it'll quickly look at this spike up here, and then it quickly drops down back into that tropical storm status. And then maybe at the end, you can see a few of these members also at the end of its towards the end of its lifespan. It takes it back up to moderately strong tropical storm status, but most of these will just take it back down to tropical depression status. So we'll move on to the rainfall amounts. So right now we have a pretty concerning map out here, an outlook for our rainfall totals, and you can see Tallahassee, Florida, right in the middle of our orange zone, meaning that we have so far we are forecasting 6 to 10 inches of rain to fall in the Tallahassee area. That is more than enough to certainly cause dangerous, life threatening flooding for that area. Okay, so this is valid through 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Sunday, August 27th, all the way out to 8 a.m. or sorry, excuse me, 8 p.m. Friday, the 1st. So it's probably going to take a long time for the system to get out of the area because again, we do have a very very slow moving storm. As of now, it's only moving at 3 miles an hour. So if it's going to be dropping this amount of rainfall and it's moving that slow, it's going to be one of those storms, those tropical systems, where they're moving so slowly, but they're producing so much rainfall, comes together to just produce, a lot of flash flooding. But we see on the western coastline down towards the Tampa Bay area, we see 4 to 6 inches of rain in this yellow area. Then we see these swaths of orange. These are rainfall totals that could be anywhere from 6 to up to 10 inches of rain. Luckily, we don't see any reds out here, but we might even see around 8 inches of rain all the way up into central and southern Georgia, maybe up all the way into South Carolina. But we see in the Charleston area, you have rainfall totals of 4 to 6 inches. And then it's dark green, including Savannah, Georgia. You have the Tampa Bay area. I would say just west of Orlando, just west of Jacksonville, Miami, and then north of Key West. Those you could still get 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. That's certainly possible and likely with the system. And then on the outside areas, for areas of southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, and the Montgomery, the Mobile area here, also including Orlando, Miami, Key West. You guys could see 1 to 2 inches of rain from the system. So for the last part of the update, we're going to be looking at the HWRF hurricane model for these wind gusts. So these aren't going to be the wind gusts; they're going to be the sustained winds. So these are in knots. And knots are actually pretty much 5 to 10 miles an hour slower than miles an hour. So if you need help converting this, just we'll go up to this point here. We see the max winds out here at 62 knots, well, that'd be around 70 to 72 miles an hour. Okay, it's pretty much as simple as that. So you can see that we'll put this to where we are now. I believe this is, what is this, the 27th. Okay, we're at the 27th. So this is where we are now. We're at let's go. Let's put this to 8 p.m. the 27th. So here we are. We have a 990 millibar low pressure storm. We have already sustained winds getting up there to almost 60 miles per hour. See 53 knots out here for these maximum sustained winds. You can see the northeastern eye wall is definitely the strongest part of the storm. The storm wastes no time to get going out here. Really, this central low pressure area, this number really drops down to 977 millibars. You see these pinks and these purples. These are sustained winds ranging from 60 up to 80 miles per hour. So we are definitely going to get those big time wind gusts out there across parts of Cuba, and we see the storm move right through Cuba. And you can see this area along the northwestern coastline of this western portion of Cuba. You're nearing these. If you're on the immediate coast, you will definitely see sustained winds that could potentially be up to Category 1 strength. I think that's certainly possible for that area, but that's going to be something you're going to have to watch. And this is going to continue for a few hours until we finally get to. Let's see. This would be 11. So this is 11 p.m. Tomorrow night. We're getting to late tomorrow night, and the storm has finally made it all the way through Cuba. It's getting a little bit faster, which is a good sign. But I mean, look, it takes a long time to get away from Cuba, but it quickly, regather. It gathers itself again, and then quickly continues to strengthen and strengthen and strengthen. The HWRF model really gets the system to a very, very strong point. You got 958 millibars. You got maximum sustained winds at around 85 miles per hour. So what you're looking at here is a Category 1 hurricane Idalia. This is pretty much what we've got right now. But you can see clearly the eastern eye wall is definitely going to be the stronger point of it. But we do have two areas of stronger winds that I really want you guys to watch out for. You see this bigger area along the close to the outside of the storm, in the purple. These are winds that are around 75 miles an hour. On the inside, these are winds around 80 miles an hour. Okay, but here's Florida. You see Florida getting the storm getting very, very close to Florida. This is when it's going to make landfall. The HWRF takes us all the way down to 950 millibars. We have maximum sustained winds at around 105 miles an hour. Now we're getting near Cat 2 strength, 942 millibars. So I mean, this is a strong storm. Okay, this is definitely going to be up there in this strength, but what we're seeing here is there is a strong signal for maybe some quick intensification of development just before the system really makes landfall. You can see this jumps from a 950 millibar low pressure storm all the way down to 942 millibars. So sudden. But you could get those. I mean, you could get those hurricane force winds as early as 5 a.m. I guess this would be Wednesday. I guess, yeah, this would be Wednesday. Yeah, this would be hold on one sec. Or Tuesday. Yeah, hold on one second. I'm losing it. Wednesday. Okay, excuse me. So yeah, you could definitely see these hurricane force winds make landfall in this area, in the Tallahassee area, as soon as 5 a.m. Wednesday. But so far, we see max winds at around 115 miles per hour. That is a Category 2 hurricane right there, maybe Category 3. But this makes landfall. Here you go. You get those wind gusts. The HWRF is having a little bit of trouble picking up these winds. But it's pretty much certain that if you're on the coastline, you're going to get those very, very strong winds over 100 miles an hour. But even in the Tallahassee area, you're still going to get winds at least um, at a high end tropical storm strength. And then this moves into parts of Georgia, still a 955 millibar hurricane. This is still a very strong hurricane with winds at around 80 miles an hour. I know this is saying max winds at 54 knots, which would be around 65, 70 miles an hour. I still think that this is still a 955 millibar low pressure storm. You could still get those wind gusts up there. But this continues to move through the southeast. This is moving through southern Georgia. Not quite the Atlanta area, but this moves through southern Georgia, bringing some strong winds. Starts to get through southern South Carolina. Look at these winds, these offshore winds. These are going to be those winds that are going to be bringing up that storm surge. That's going to be bringing up that storm surge pretty high. But you could see we get max winds at around, this would be 53, so this is around 60 to 70 miles an hour out here. So you will definitely still have a high end tropical storm as late as Friday. Okay, and this continues to try to move out of the area, brings a taste of its medicine out to the coastal regions of North Carolina. 998 millibar low pressure storm out here. So this is pretty much a moderately strong tropical storm. And then this finally gets off the coastline. But watch out for some re-strengthening of the system as it moves off the coastline. Because remember, it's not like we're done with those warm waters. We still have very, very warm waters out in this area. We can even look at the sea surface temperatures. I don't know if we can get it out here. Actually, I don't think so. But anyways, we still do have some very, very warm and hot waters out here in the Atlantic. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for coming to watch. We gotta watch both of these systems. But Idalia is going to make landfall in both Cuba and Florida, bringing some very, very strong winds and a very, very strong storm surge. So we'll continue tracking both systems, and we'll see you guys in the next video. So stay safe out there, and we will catch you guys in the next update.